Coach, the Broncos are coming off a win and a tie over the weekend at the Icebreaker. Why don't you just give us your thoughts on how you thought the teams did this weekend?
Well, first of all, we were excited to be invited to the Icebreaker. Good teams to play against, real competitive environment in Toledo, and played Ohio State. Did some really good things, had a lot of jump right from the beginning of the hockey game. An old issue crept into the game. We took 2 penalties in the first 7 minutes of the second period, actually by 2 of our seniors away from the play, and lasted a little bit of the drive there, but I think overall in the hockey game, we played really well. We had a lot of pressure on their net, had opportunities to certainly get 3 or 4 goals in the first period and continued to get chances all night. Took, again, a penalty late in the third period, which cost us. They scored on the power play, and both goaltenders had great nights, and they won in the shootout to advance to the final. One got a tie. Each team came out the same in terms of the rankings. Second night, we played a Bowling Green team that really took it to us last year, if we look at it that way, won both games against us the previous year at home. It was a solid game. We had great opportunities. In Bowling Green last year, we were totally outplayed, and one of our poorer efforts of the year. But, great opponent again, and we got off to a great start, scored a goal early in the game. Great play by Dawson DiPietro getting the puck on net, and we were right there to pick up the rebound there as well, too. So overall, certainly both games were intense. They were physical. Excited about the opportunity to go to Bowling Green and try to make some amends for our play there last year.
You cleaned up the penalty issue against Bowling Green with only 3, giving up 3 power plays. Did you talk to the team about anything like that, or just make them more aware of the situation? Or
Adam, if it was just a matter of talking to the team about the penalties, it should have worked before now. But we did talk about it. We had them talk about it, and really counted on our senior leadership with all the seniors we have this year to take charge of that issue. And it was certainly better. And when you're not having to kill penalties, you're able to play offense, and we're good at that. So it was an issue. We addressed it, and we're much better in the game against Bowling Green. And a game in reality that was much more physical than our game against Ohio State, where we ended up taking 7 minor penalties.
You had a game on on Friday where 5 goals, and I know one of them was empty netter, but 5 different goal scorers. Speak on the balance of your team. What kind of bonus is that when you have a bunch of different guys who can score goals for you?
Well, I think last week in the press conference we talked about the depth we have up front, and obviously some defensemen that can contribute offensively as well too. But we roll 4 lines. We play short, intense shifts. We've got different guys that can contribute on different nights, and in reality, some of our top offensive guys, people may look at the first 2 games and say that their offensive numbers are not there, but yet when we analyze the scoring chance, I know, for example, Wade Allison had 7 scoring chances in the second game against Bowling Green, so that that those players are going to find their range, and we're certainly hoping it's Friday night.
Has Brandon Bussey played as good as the stats seem to indicate?
Good friend of mine, former associate athletic director Monty Porter, would always say you are what your record says you are. And so I would say that Brandon Bussey's statistics show that he's been very solid for us.
Analyze why. What has been so good about his game?
He's 6'4". He's got big pads, big blocker, big helmet. He covers a lot of the net. And I think one thing that he's done well is he's not giving up rebound opportunities. And I think the other side of it is the help he's getting from our defensemen and clearing any of the attackers from the front of the net so they can't pick up those loose pucks. He's played well, and it's really interesting. Ben Blacker has backed him up both nights, and Ben has been tremendous in practice. We had a shootout today. It was a scoring competition, and I had to call the shootout off because nobody could score on him. We would have been still skating if I'd let it continue. So all of our goaltenders, Austin Kane and certainly Massey as well, too, have played really well.
You play series, every weekend, but kind of unique in the sense that you play Bowling Green on a Friday, then you have to wait to play them again. What do you take from that game that can help you this weekend?
Well, I think it's an interesting situation in that both coaching staffs now get a chance to get some game film to analyze what went on in that game and how they can get better, and maybe come up with a few surprises for the opponent that they might not be expecting. So, our games against Bowling Green are always exciting, and this just adds to a little more intensity when you tend to play against a team back-to-back, and now it's 3 games in a row. The emotions are going to be high, and it's really important that we stay on the positive side of our emotions, as we talked about, stay out of the penalty box and focus on our 5-on-5 play.
Coach, the Friday night first period against Ohio State was one of the best periods I remember in a long time by the Broncos. 21 shots on a nationally ranked opponent. What did it look like when you went back and looked at the tape?
I would agree with you, Robin. It was we had 21 shots, and we had 21 shots because we were good. And it was interesting. I talked to one of the assistant coaches from RIT, and they were scouting that game because they thought they might be playing us the next day or Ohio State in the finals. So he talked about the speed on our team and the transition speed we have, and certainly our speed was evident in that first period there. We were jumping. And they made some adjustments. To their credit, they've got great coaches and they've got good players, and it was a competitive game. I thought we were one step ahead of them most of the game, and their goaltender played very well, as Brandon Bussey did. But we were excited to see our team get out of the gate like that and play that hard. And again, I think we hurt ourselves by some unnecessary penalties, and it's something that has been a problem for our team, and we have to make sure that doesn't become a factor.
And you talked earlier in the last couple of weeks about the toughness of your schedule, the difficult opponents that you scheduled, and here you are out of the gate playing Ohio State, nationally ranked, Bowling Green, nationally ranked, and you're going to play them 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always had a special rivalry with Bowling Green, and I think the reason is both teams play the same. They're an aggressive, physical, hardworking, determined team, and that's the way that we like to play. So you've got 2 styles that are clashing, that are similar, and it comes down to winning one-on-one battles and so on. So we're going to have to be on top of our game this weekend for sure, but we're excited about the chance to go to Bowling Green. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and then we know what Austin's going to be like when Bowling Green comes back this weekend.
You bring up speed, and one guy that really jumped out, particularly in the Ohio State game, was Brett Van Oss. And he's a guy that hadn't played in a whole lot of games last year or his freshman year, but he's making an impact already this season.
And that's a great comment, Adam. Brett Van Oss has been tremendous from the beginning of the summer. We did our conditioning tests. He stayed all summer here, worked on his game on the ice. We can't work with him as coaches, but he was out there by himself doing individual skill work and working at his game. We did our fitness testing. He was number 1. I think he's a 3.93 student in our business school. In training camp, we played 6 inter-squad games. Ethan Frank and Brett Van Oss were tied for the scoring lead with 12 points each. He scored a hard-working goal in our exhibition game against Nate and scored a hard-working beat-your-man-to-the-net goal to help us get the lead against Ohio State in the first game. So he's getting everything that he deserved, and I think in life you tend to get what you deserve, and you have to earn it, and he's earned it here. He would agree that his game the second night against Bowling Green was not quite as strong, but he's got some credit in the bank right now just because of the way that he's conducted himself here early in the season. And you pull for guys like that, and obviously he hasn't played a lot here over the first 2 years, but we don't give people spots. You got to earn it, and during the course of a game, you're going to play when you play hard and do things the right way. If you're not doing things the right way, you're not going to play. And Jamie Rome, for example, came into the game on Saturday night. We made a lineup change, and Jamie Rome was playing at the end of the game where some of our other players weren't playing because he was working, he was effective. I told him in practice today, Jamie, you got to build on that. You got to get some credit in the bank this weekend here. You got to play the same way, and so we're excited to see guys that have faced some adversity find success.
Brandon, you got a little taste of action in the exhibition game, and then you get your first career start at Ohio State. Just talk about getting to play college hockey for the first time.
I mean, it's definitely something I've been waiting for my whole life, training for. So just happy to get the opportunity. Coaching staff put some trust in me, and thought I played pretty well, but obviously winning is the most important thing. We didn't get it done. Had a really good bounce back against Bowling Green, and really showed what we can do. So it'll be a good weekend against them.
You get your first win against Bowling Green and played particularly well in a second period that was a bit crazy. Bowling Green puts up 18 shots, but the Broncos are the ones that score most of the goals, and you come out ahead.
Sometimes a goalie has to do that. I mean, I thought our team played really well defensively, but we had some tough times getting the puck out. They kept it in a few times and pinned some pressure. So, a goalie's got to mix in a few saves sometimes and help the team out. So, just trying to do my job.
There's that thought that, you start your college career. Obviously, you played against Nate in the exhibition game, but okay, you're a freshman. You want to play schools that aren't necessarily going to challenge you, get your feet wet. You get thrown to the fire with 2 ranked opponents this weekend, 2 more this upcoming weekend. Just seems like ranked opponents out of the chute. How does that help you?
I don't think we would want it any other way. Specifically for me, you want to play the best. So, Bowling Green's a really good team. They played a really good game on Saturday, and we're looking forward to playing them this weekend.
Your numbers are fantastic after 3 games, and I know that I heard you say just a second ago, winning is what matters. But at the same time, the goalie position is a position that gets talked about a lot around here. What does it mean to you to be the goalie at Western Michigan?
It's a huge honor. I mean, there's a lot of really good goalies that have played here. We got 3 unbelievable goalies here, and we battle every day in practice, and I think we all elevate each other's levels so much that helps the play in the games.
How would you describe your own game, I suppose?
I try and bring some energy, a little, always trying to bring confidence that kind of comes through the team. I think that's pretty important as a goalie. If your team knows you're confident and has a little bit of that swagger, that's big. And as well, I like to use my size. I am pretty big, but I like to be aggressive, to challenge on certain shots. So those 2 things are probably pretty big characteristics of my game.
Being a left-handed goalie is not it's a very unique thing. Did you have any kind of professional lefties that you looked up to growing up playing goaltender?
Not really. I think what a lot of people would think, since I am from New York, Long Island, is growing up Rick DiPietro. But I was a Ranger fan growing up, and I really looked up to Henrik Lundqvist, ever since I was a kid, and he's my favorite goalie. So he'd probably be one I looked up to.